everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are doing a very awesome topic. We are doing one of the greatest TV shows out right now. This is X-Men 97 Customs and LEGO DC Supervillains. I'm very excited to do this one. I had a lot of fun making these customs while watching the show. It's a great show. I think there's 3 episodes out now. Go watch them. They're very good, and without further ado, we're going to get right into it. First up, we have Scott Summers, aka Cyclops. Now for this, I gave him some brown short hair. I gave him a custom hero. I gave him a custom face print with the Arsenal glasses, because they look similar to his visor. I gave him the red Robin torso in blue, because I liked the yellow accents and the yellow belt. I think it looks pretty good. I gave him these Batgirl arms to get the blue and yellow on there. I gave him some yellow hands, and I made him shoot red. I made him shoot some I-beams. I gave him the Kid Flash legs to get some detail on with the yellow boots. And I gave him the Arsenal hip piece to get a little X in there. I actually really like the way this one turned out, and this is probably one of my favorite customs I've made. Next up, we have Jean Grey. This one also looks really good in my opinion. For this, I gave her some red long hair. I gave her these blue shoulder pads. I gave her the Catwoman face print, but in blue. I gave her the Atomica torso print, but in yellow, and I think that looks beautiful. I gave her yellow arms at the top, and then blue arms towards the end of them, towards the end of her arms. I gave her blue. I gave her no gloves, yellow pants, and the only yellow hip piece is this, so I gave her this. I gave her the ability to do this, because I thought it kind of looked similar to, and I gave her this, floating ability, because she has, she can, like, lift stuff with her mind and stuff, like Professor X. Telekinesis, thank you. That's what it's called. I think this actually looks really good, and this is probably, same with Scott, one of my favorite customs I've made. Moving on. Next up, we have Gambit. Now this one also looks really good, and I'm gonna go break it down. So I gave him Condiment King's torso to get, Condiment King's head to get that, like, kind of like a little mask type thing he has on his head. I gave him this brown spiky hair with Captain Boomerang's torso, some normal brown arms. I gave him the ability to shoot these pink blasts that he has, like, because he can charge up objects, so it's similar to his cards that he throws. I gave him the Commissioner Gordon legs and hip piece. I made the hip piece in black and legs in dark brown. I gave him one glove on his left hand, and I gave him his staff. And now, in my opinion, this one also looks pretty good. I couldn't replicate the blue boots or the pink he has underneath his trench coat, but I think it looks pretty well nonetheless. Next up, we have Beast. Now for this one, I gave him Beast Boy's headpiece to get, like, the teeth, to get, like, because, like, he has, like, teeth sticking out, and he's got kind of like that, and I think that looked really good. I gave him this, like, I gave him the same hair piece you'll see with Wolverine later on in navy blue. I gave him the Clayface arms to get some hair looking stuff on them and made them blue. Blue hands, the custom superhero torso in blue and with navy blue highlights. I gave him, I think it's like one of the knitted people that are like the minions of Granny Goodness, those hips, but I made them navy blue to get the yellow belt in there and the navy blue that he has. And finally, I gave him Pride's legs to get some more detail in there, and I put those in dark blue, in blue. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out, and I think it looks pretty much like Beast. Next up, we have Rogue. This one also looks really good. If I could replicate the white streak she has in her hair, I would have, but I wasn't able to. For this, I gave her Hawk Girl's torso, which is pretty freaking perfect. And I made that a darker green. And then on the top of her arms, I made dark green, but towards the bottom of her arms, I made a lighter colored green. I gave her yellow gloves with the parademon legs and a brighter colored yellow. I gave her the same hips I gave Scott. I mean, not Scott. I gave Jean, because once again, those are like the only colored yellow hips like that. And then I gave her Scott's I-beam ability, the ability to fly, because she does that in the show. Because Rogue, if you didn't know, whenever she like touches a character, she gains their abilities. She's a really cool character, and she is probably one of the most iconic X-Men members, in my opinion. Next up, we have Magneto. Magneto looks weird in this new series, but I think it's fine. So for this, I'm gonna start out with the abilities, just because why not? I gave him this like gliding ability to represent his like, because I didn't want to give him flying, because I feel like he doesn't really fly as much as he does glide. But I guess he does fly, so you could also do that. I gave him this white long hair, and the reason I gave him this one specifically is so I could also get a cape in there and this scarf. I gave him this purple scarf to represent how he has this cape kind of like flowing like on his like torso plate. I gave him these a purple cape, and I gave him this like, I guess, I don't know how to describe this color, like a pinkish purplish color for the legs, hip, torso, gloves, and lower part of arms for longer gloves. I gave him purple highlights of the torso piece, and I gave him an logo on the chest that looks similar to an M. I think this one turned out pretty good, and I'm happy with how it turned out. Next up, we have Storm. Now for Storm, I gave her a white mohawk piece with Poison Ivy's head, changed color. I changed the skin tone of it a little bit to make it look more like Storm. I used a character from the Aquaman DLC. I think it's his Aquaman's mom's legs. I used Shazam's cape, and I used Shazam Darla, her torso piece. I used normal white hips and white arms. I made her hands glow yellow to represent her abilities. And I gave her the Calendar Man's exaggerated shoulder pads, because I couldn't give her the other ones, and I thought these looked pretty good. This custom also looks really good for what it is, and I'm happy with how this one, I'm like really happy with how that one turned out. We only got a couple more, so let's do this. Next up, we have Morph. Now for Morph, I gave him the bronze tiger torso to get that yellow underneath the brown jacket. I gave him brown arms and yellow gloves. I gave him the same yellow hip I gave most of the X-Men. I gave him the same legs as Scott, which are the Young Justice Kid Flash ones. And I gave him, I don't know whose face this is. I'm going to try to scan around, just look, do a quick peek. I think it might be Steel or something. But I thought it looked very good for this character, for Morph. And I think this one looks pretty freaking good for what it's supposed to be. I think Morph is a pretty cool character. I do have some, like, since I sadly haven't seen all of the original X-Men show that came out in 1997 or in the 90s. I don't know much about him, but for what I've seen in the 97 cartoon, that is the new one. He's a pretty cool character who can kind of like shapeshift, and I couldn't really capture that with an ability. So yeah, but I think he looks pretty good. Next up, we have Jubilee. This one is also really hard to do, but I just used what I could. I gave her Vixen's hairpiece with a custom headpiece with Wonder Woman's tiara to kind of look like her glasses. I wish I could make him pink, but it wouldn't let me. I gave her Captain Boomerang's torso piece, and I made that yellow. I gave her short yellow sleeves, and I gave her yellow gloves with like pink glowing around them to represent her firework abilities. Same thing with there. I gave her Squirrel Girl, sorry, not Squirrel Girl, that's Marvel, Tara's legs, but made them blue, and I gave her this blue hip piece. I think this one looks pretty good. I do think this one is a little, like probably the weakest one of the bunch, but then again, when you're making these customs, you're always gonna have a weaker one. But for what it is, I think it looks pretty good. Next up, we have Bishop. I actually really like the way this one looks. I gave him navy blue gloves with short yellow sleeves. I gave him the Kanto head, but I changed the skin tone color of it. Same with the arms. I gave him the short black hair with a red scarf. I gave him the custom superhero torso plate and I made that blue with like a Deadshot looking red logo to look like the X logo. I gave him this yellow belt. I gave him on his right leg just some blue pants with a navy blue boot, and on his left leg I gave him the red tornado one to represent all the yellow he has on it. I gave him this pistol because I don't remember quite if he uses it, but I remember him having a pistol. I don't know if it uses, I'm pretty sure the pistol doesn't shoot bullets, but it shoots like blasts of some kind. So let me know in the comments down below what you think about that. And I like this one a lot. I actually think it looks really cool. Bishop is the guy, and he kind of has like time travel powers, so that's cool. I also I recreated that with this teleporting ability. He kind of like can time travel, so that's cool. And I like the way that one came out. Next up is one that you probably wouldn't have expected to see on this list. It's a Sentinel, and for this I gave him kind of this like little like beanie type hat piece to look like the edges that he has on like the top of his head. I gave him the metallo headpiece that just fits perfect. I gave him the same magenta pink colored arm. I gave him both of those things in magenta pink color. That's what I'm calling it. Same with his legs and top of his arms. The rest of it, mainly the hips, boots, gloves, and torso are purple. And then you have the like a light purple logo in the middle that he shoots beams from, similar to Cyclops. He also has Storm's ability of lightning, and he's got, because like all the Sentinels are made to kill mutants. They were made by Trask to do that, and they basically can copy mutant powers. So I kind of like did that, and I think this Sentinel looks very good, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. Now we have last but certainly not least, Wolverine. Now for this I gave him Beast Boy's torso in yellow with no sleeves but blue gloves. I gave him this black kind of like very far back hairpiece. I gave him this torso print that kind of has some sideburns on it and a little bit of a stubble. I gave him these blue shoulder pads with blue hip piece and yellow legs and blue boots. I gave him his signature claws, and I think this one looks really good. I tried putting a hood piece on him to represent his mask in the back, but sadly because I had the shoulder pads on, it wouldn't work. I still think this one looks really good and really accurate, so I'm happy with how it looks. But on that note, we have reached the end of today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe. By the time this video is out, I will be having a live stream, hopefully, so tune into that if you can, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!